Productive bee, productive bee, productive bees is what we're going to be doing today. And I want to start off by getting a bunch of nests. So I'm going to go ahead and make a series of nests. And if you don't know, you can just use a wooden sword with the type of nest that you're trying to make, and it'll make that nest for you. And going out and trying to find these nests are just a pain. So this is probably the best way to go about it. Alright, so I have all the nests, at least to finish the quest part of it, but this is going to be my bee room. If you haven't seen any of my previous episodes, this is going to be the layout that I'm actually going to do. And I've already started getting some bees going in here with honey and honeycombs, because you need a lot of these to actually get into productive bees. So that's why I did that. I also went ahead and made some honey seeds, and you can do that, grow them, and you can make honey bottles, but you'll need bottles for them, or you can just make the honeycombs themselves. So I have a tier 3 crafter with a honeycomb block, making from these honeycombs into that tier 3 crafter. So I got that going because I'm going to be making my bee room out of honeycomb. I actually think it'll be really cool to actually have this room almost kind of act like a beehive, like a giant beehive. And it'll be kind of weird because I'll have beehives in the giant beehive, but I just think it'll be cool. This is pretty much going to be the layout that I'm going to have them in up until I can get like the productive upgrades and whatnot. But I have these in here like this with the simulator upgrade and 3 speed upgrades, and it's been producing pretty well, pretty dang well. I also made a wireless crafting grid, so I can I don't have to keep running back and forth to my refined storage crafting grid. I honestly have no idea how many blocks I'm going to need for this, but I'm going to put quite a bit in here because it's probably more than it appears, to be honest. I'm also going to try to add layers to this build and so it's not just a weird dome. Like it's not going to be just honeycomb blocks in a dome shape. So I might add some layers, like have like an upper floor with some more of these beehives. This one is the redwood beehive, advanced beehive to be more precise. These advanced beehives are actually really, really helpful. And if you don't have the expansion box to go with it, it'll only carry like 3 bees. So the expansion box adds 2 bees, and then it also gives you the ability to add upgrades and whatnot. If you don't have the simulation grade up there, you won't be able to place bees in like you can normally. So there's a sturdy bee cage and a normal bee cage, and we can craft the normal bee cages no problem, but eventually they will break. We do want the sturdy bee cages a little bit better. I guess the best way to go about it is to get it with a beekeeper from villagers. So you can actually give a villager a beehive to get said sturdy bee cage. So something that we can do is go ahead and make a trader from easy villagers, and then we'll also need a villager itself, and I don't think I have one. I have a baby villager, so I'm gonna need this baby villager to grow up, so I'm just gonna let it join the world. I don't know if it'll grow up in this trader or not, but for the time being, I'm just gonna let it wander around a little bit. Hopefully it won't despawn. You know what? Whatever. That works. We'll put it there for now. And then once that bee grows up, we can get them. I think we might actually have to use an advanced beehive. I'm not sure. It's either an advanced beehive or a regular beehive. Alright, so we're going to make a bunch of shears here because we're probably going to make a bunch of advanced beehives here in the near future. You need 2 honeycombs, a campfire, the wood that you're making it out of, and just a typical beehive to actually make these advanced beehives. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but we're gonna test it out and see if this will work or not. So you can place them in there, so that's a big plus, but we're about to find out whether or not that'll work or not. I might have to wait this out a little bit longer so that I can get some more honey treats, because honey treats come in handy when it comes to getting a lot of these bees using the nests that I have crafted up here. So we're gonna wait for this guy to grow up. We're gonna wait for the bees in there to progress and get me some more honey, and we'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and I flipped the switch. Yep, I flipped the switch and it got built. I probably should have recorded it, because it's always a really cool animation seeing the RF Tools builder building. But I moved the beehives, yeah, plural. I have 3 beehives now, and then I made use of the incubator here and the breeding chamber for that. I also got the trader, finally traded it all the way up, and as long as I can make some bee cages, I can get some sturdy bee cages, and that's why I did that. I already had a few break on me already, but I have an extra bee here, but all of these are full, and I kind of left it overnight, so they're like full. Like, I got honeycombs and everything in here, and I kind of want to set up a little system to automatically export these out of here. And I think once again I am going to make use of modular routers. So if I go over here in this corner over here, I believe if I dig down, yeah, I have a network receiver over here, so I can just connect my refined storage to the modular router, and I can just put the modular router down here somewhere right beneath the surface of this room. Okay, so what we're going to end up using is the distributor module, and then we're going to have it transfer out of router. We're actually going to set it to transfer into router. And then we'll also do round robin. Then we can set these, come out like this. And then if we put this in here, it should start bringing them in. Yep. It's going to start collecting the honeycombs, and then it's probably just going to be randomized, honestly. And then I'm going to put a importer on this guy, and it'll feed it directly into my system. All right, so I got an ultra importer. I'm going to go ahead and place that down, and it's drawing it in. And then I also, I don't want to see the lines here that you can see. I don't want to see those. I kind of want to hide them. And a really good way to do that with modular routers is to get a muffler upgrade, which is just wool around this blank upgrade here. And I think you can only put 3 into it. Yep, 3. So we won't be able to see those lines, and it'll be a lot cleaner. So these will get all taken out, and then we're gonna set up another modular router on top of that one, and then use an exporter on that. And then we're gonna need another distributor module. So what I'll do is I'll do it from the back, and then make sure it's set to transfer out of router. And then we'll go ahead and place this right in there. And then we're going to go ahead and set, like I said, a exporter. And I have an elite exporter here. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. And then we're going to have a bottle feed into this. Like so. Now it's a nice, simple, clean setup. And then we'll do that with all the other ones that we are going to be placing in here as well. We got to go ahead and get those bees. Let's go capture us some interesting looking bees. Okay, so the first bee that I want to get is the Draconic Bee is what it's called. But man, that's loud. The bee used to be, what do you want? So this bee actually used to be, a lot of these bees actually, I think they've changed it since ATM8. But I used to be able to just click a honey tree on this and it will, pop out. But that's not the case anymore. Now it is dragon eggs, or not dragon eggs, my bad, dragon's breath. And I'm using it on here, and you can see on the top of the screen, the time is going down, meaning that's how fast your bee is going to pop out. Now, I want to get a bunch of these bees, so I'm going to have to get a lot more dragon eggs. And while this is happening, I'm going to go ahead and head home and then change the dragon drops to dragon's breath so that I have plenty of these to, oh my gosh, I have plenty of these to actually go and get a bunch of these, because the recipe that you can get from Draconic Bees are really, really useful. Okay, so we're going to change this to dragon's breath, and we're going to get a bunch more dragon's breath that way. And then I will be able to use them on this obsidian nest and collect a bunch of these bees. Boom, boom, boom. All the sparklies happening. All right, we got 5 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and boom, got him. He's really cool looking too. He looks like a little dragon. And we're gonna keep doing this process until I get about 5 of them. All right, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and there's 5. All right, boom. So we got 5 of these guys. I think I accidentally put 1 into my refined storage, but I can easily take that out. So I'm just gonna leave this here, I guess for just in case purposes, but for the time being, let's head back home and get a hive ready for this. Okay, so the important thing when you're doing this is, especially if you plan on simulating them, is to put the simulator upgrade in there first. That's just the first thing you should do, and you won't ever have to worry about them popping out on you, and then you can easily just put them in here. All right, so we got all 5 in there, and then we're also going to need a feeding slab, which is what I have for those guys over there. You can see I got a bunch of flowers on it. All right, so it is literally just a chest and a half slab of the smooth stone, I believe. So then we need to figure out what the bee eats. So I believe if we right click on the Draconic Bee flowering here, it tells us it needs an egg. So let's get some dragon eggs, which actually we have in our inventory here. And then I'm going to go ahead and just sprawl them out like that. You don't have to do it. You can just put 1 in there, no problem. But I think it looks cool with multiples on there. It has that really cool effect, and it puts them in different angles and stuff like that. I really like it. That was pretty simple. All we have to do is follow this same guide that we just did with these Draconic Bees with all the other bees. Now, it also just varies on what kind of bee that you want. Depends on what kind of biome that you would have to go in order to actually get these bees. Now, I think for like the soul sand nest, the glow nest, and stuff like that, I don't think it's very biome specific. Just as long as you're in the dimension, as long as that you're actually in the nether while you actually do these. And then I'm also thinking with the slimy nest, yes. So this one involves you to go to the swamp, I believe. And obviously we got to figure out where some of these other ones will go. And we know like the end stone, the end bee or whatever it is. Obviously you got to go to the end for that. And I feel like a lot of these overworld ones, like, I don't know if stone or gravel matters. But definitely the slimy one you need to be in a swamp. And we're going to need that slime bee. So we're going to go to a swamp, and hopefully we'll be able to just use honey treats on that in order to get it. And oh, look at that. It's already starting to get some combs. All right, I think we found ourselves a swamp. Yeah. Actually, what's really interesting in the swamps, you could actually find the slimy nest. Now, I'm not seeing one as of right now. Oh, boom. There's one right here. But it's really cool. So what I'm just going to do is just click on it with this honey treat and hope that that works. Okay, yeah. Hey, we got one. This one was already had a slimy bee in it. Interesting. That's why it didn't work. But it was working on the nest that we made. Let's go ahead and pick him up. Thank you. And I'm going to do the same process with the Draconic Bee and just go ahead and collect 5 of them. I figured, why not? All right. There we go. We got them all in there. We're going to have to use our distributor module once again to get some bottles flowing in here as well. But these aren't as important as these, so I'll just get back to them later on. I kind of want to go ahead and get some more hives going and some more bees. And I'm actually really excited. I might even make another platform at the top here, kind of acting as like another honeycomb, like sprawling out like a circular, like half of a circle coming out on this side, maybe on a different level, just so that it's not all completely perfectly symmetrical or anything like that. Just so it kind of feels like we're in a hive. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just do a little montage on it, honestly. Let's get to it. Alright, so the first bee that I collected was the glowing bee, and all you need for this is the glowstone for populating the glowstone nest, and you have to be in the nether, otherwise it won't work. And you will need glowstone to flower this bee. But once I finally got that, I've decided that I was going to go ahead and finish off the bee room because I wanted to prepare myself for when I actually get all the other bees. Then I made the redwood advanced beehives with their expansion boxes, and I placed down like another 11 down. And it was eventually I was going to put down 12 because I had get some extra bees, but you'll see that soon enough. Then I had a really good idea involving these create fluid tanks, and I'll probably explain it a little bit more in the next episode when we dive into create a little bit. But I am going to be filling this giant tank with liquid honey. It's going to be awesome. After I finished off with the bee room, I went to get some of the solitary bees that you typically find in the world. But I just used a dirt nest and some honey traits to make the process a little bit faster. And I got the ashy mining bee, the leaf cutter bee, and the chocolate mining bee. But I only really needed the chocolate mining bee because you breed that with a glowing bee and you'll get a redstone bee. You gotta use redstone blocks to flower this bee. Once I got 5 redstone bees, the next bee I was to get was the Lapis Bee. But I need a blue bandit bee for that. And those only spawn specifically in forest biomes, so I took my dirt nest to a forest biome and spammed it with honey treats, but one never popped out. So I decided that this would be the only bee that I would actually go out and find. And the only way that I could find it was to get away from this forest because there was no blue bandit bee in there. And I went to Wazap's base and used a nature's compass to find a forest maybe near his base. And funny enough, there was one right next to his base, and there was bees everywhere. It was like a bee sanctuary, and there was probably 6, 7, 8 blue banded bees. And I'm pretty sure since it's by his base, it was because of him why there's so many bees over here. But I got myself a blue banded bee and breeded it with a redstone bee. Now, make sure when you breed things, none of them are a child. It took me a minute to realize that. I actually had to take them out of their cage and try to breed them by hand to realize that the redstone bee was still a child. So I put it in the incubator and turn it into an adult so that I can breed it and get that lapis bee. Use lapis blocks for flowering that bee. Now we're going to make use of that lapis bee to get a diamond bee. But in order to do that, we need an ender bee. So I went to the end, used an end nest, and then popped chorus fruit, used it on there, and I breeded them together in a breeding chamber. You get your diamond bee. Use diamond blocks for flowering this bee as well. Then I took a diamond bee and a slimy bee to get the emerald bee. And that was pretty simple. All I had to do is make sure that the bees were an adult and use emerald blocks for flowering the emerald bee. After that, I made 5 more diamond bees because I needed ancient bees, which are like netherite bees. And the way to get those is you have to get the diamond bee out into the world and then feed it a block of netherite. Yeah, I kind of struggled a bit. When it's moving around like this, it's kind of difficult. Obviously, use netherite blocks for flowering this bee. Then I needed a couple of skeleton bees, and if you don't know, if you put advanced beehives in an unlit area, zombies and skeleton bees will start just popping in, just populating the advanced beehives. So I cleared out a little area and placed down about 5 beehives just to increase the speed of the whole process. So while I was waiting for the skeletal bees to come in, and I decided to make Vibranium Bee. Now with the Vibranium Bee, you need a Draconic Bee and an Ancient Bee, but the Draconic Bee doesn't flower with, or doesn't breed with like normal flowers. So what I did was I got a powered centrifuge, put some Draconic combs in there to get some Draconic dust, because that is what you need to breed with this bee. So you combine that with an Ancient Bee and you will get your Vibranium Bee. Use Vibranium blocks for flowering this bee. Alright guys, I'm in a hole with a bunch of chickens and I'm gonna need a wither bee, and the way to do that is to feed a wither rose to a skeletal bee. So I am going to make a wither down here and blow these guys sky high so that I can get me some wither roses and hopefully kill this thing as soon as possible, which shouldn't be a problem. I am going to go ahead and let him do his thing. Get prepared, make sure I'm ready to go. Boom. Boom. And I got some wither roses. Sweet. Oh, my backpack picked them up. I got 7 of them. And I can actually put these in a hopper botany pot, and I won't have to worry about getting wither roses ever again. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Alright, so let's stick one of these wither roses in a hopper botany pot and let that grow, and we'll always have wither roses on deck. Alright, so this is what we're going to need to do. We're going to need to take, I believe I don't have the vibranium. Where's the skeletal bee? It might be up here. Oh, geez. Yeah, that's been collecting. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put one of these cages in there. Hit this up. And we're going to feed it a withered rose. Let's get that ready because these things like to fly around and they can be quite annoying that way. Boom. Got them. And we're going to put them in this one over here. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Hopefully these guys flower using wither roses, and we'll find that out here eventually. Okay, so we also need to get the Allthemodium Bee in order before we even get the Unobtainium Bee. So we need the Ancient Bee. Wow, this is full as well. Go ahead and grab one of these Ancient Bees. And then we need the Wither Bee that we just got. And we need to breed them. So Ancient Bee plus Wither Bee equals Allthemodium Bee. And then we should just be able to give them normal flowers. And it's working. Sweet. So we're about to get an Allthemodium Bee. Okay, so I have 5 Allthemodium Bees. Now we're going to get the Unobtainium Bees by putting the Allthemodium Bee and the Vibranium Bee together, and they require the Vibranium and Unobtainium ingots. So you got to feed the Allthemodium Bee Vibranium and the Vibranium Bee Unobtainium, and it consumes 4 at a time. So keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and make 5 more of these, and we should have all the bees. Alright, so that is our last Unobtainium Bee. We're going to stop breeding these guys. There is one more other bee that I actually do want to get. I almost forgot about it. And it is the Prosperibee. Now, before we get the Prosperibee, we need the Crystalline Bee, which you get from the quartz nest. And then we spam some quartz nest onto here, and we'll get that repopulation cooldown down to basically 0 so that we can get it ASAP. Alright. Boom. Crystalline Bee. Hey, get over here. Can't escape from me. All right, we're gonna go back through and we gotta feed this a prosperity block. We're gonna go ahead and make a block. And we'll actually probably need more than one block because we'll probably need this block to actually get it actually producing stuff. So bada boom, bada bang, here we go. All right, we're gonna place our crystalline bee down, feed it one of these blocks if we can. There we go. Hey, get back here. No. Come on. There we go. Oh, jeez. Okay, so we're gonna go up here, and this is where we're gonna put our Prosperibee. And I'm debating whether or not to make a bunch of these. I really want to, but it sounds like a lot of work for right now, especially with the amount of bee work that I've been doing. Look at this. I love this. And I added this tank here, and this will probably play into the next episode because in the next episode, I'm going to dive into create a little bit and actually process a lot of these combs using create in the upper floor above this. So we're gonna feed all of the honey into this. So this is gonna be full of honey. It's gonna be awesome. But if you haven't seen my previous episode, it is on the screen right now. It has to do with hostile neural networks. It was the first time I ever got into it. So feel free to check that out. But until next time, I'll see ya.